Let's start with it, guys. And now I'm teaching a new topic from new agenda. So I'll start from very beginning and from the scratch. One more thing, guys, the idea is start something from the scratch, take it to the most advanced level. In between that, anytime you feel any discomfort or you feel like I'm going too fast or I'm going too slow, please feel free to adjust the speed. We'll go forward. Okay. So this is the agenda. So I will just give this basics and I will just start with this. Number one thing is we have on the plate is how to set up LeetCode and submit a question. So I think most of you know about LeetCode. In case anybody doesn't know LeetCode, just me give a brief overview. There's nothing to set up as such because we are not setting up anything. There's already a platform for that. Of course, for CP, you can set up various other things that I can also teach you if you want to know. Okay. I think my screen is visible. Just let me know in the chat if my Chrome is visible. My Chrome is visible, right? Okay. Cool, guys. So you can just go to leetcode.com, problem set. You can find multiple things: explore, problems, contest, discuss, interview, store. Store they have recently added. So this is a really good platform, guys. And now they have introduced many other features as well. All you have to do is go to this website, just create a profile like this. And after creating a profile, there will be many other things. For example, you can see your number of problems you have solved, easy, medium, hard, whatever problems you have solved out of total number of problems. You can also see your acceptance rate. For example, if you submit 100 problems, if I submit 100 solutions, out of 100, 90 are able to pass all test cases. That's how you can see. Okay. And you can find a list of all questions there. Whatever you're seeing a tick mark means the question have been solved. Okay. That's something really good and useful. And I personally prefer and recommend LeetCode for pretty much all of your DSA preparation in all the product-based companies. 99% of the companies you will be able to crack by it, but few companies, like very 1%, they go for CP. For that, I recommend Topcoder. So once you're comfortable with LeetCode, then you can definitely move to Topcoder. So that's another website that I use. But I don't think any particular for product-based company that you solve questions on LeetCode and you are not able to pass it, that's very really difficult, right? CP is competitive programming. So understand this. So DSA is about data structure algorithm. There's a list of data structure. There's a list of algorithms. Using that data structure algorithm, you solve a particular problem. That's what DSA is. CP is competitive programming. In competitive programming means it's an advanced level of DSA where the focus is not on solving the problem. The focus is solving the problem very efficiently and very quickly. Efficiently means optimizing the space and time, and quickly means since you're competing with others, that's why it is called competitive programming. What's the other website you mentioned? That is Topcoder. Codeforces problems are very easy. I mean, if you're a beginner with CP, then yeah, you can start with CodeChef, Codeforces. But if you become very experienced level CP person, then you can definitely try for Coder or Topcoder. Coder is little bit easier as compared to Topcoder. Topcoder is the topmost one. But it will take time, guys. So don't start from Topcoder. Otherwise, you will get frustrated. You will not be able to solve any question. So start with the basics, start with the LeetCode, then gradually improve it. Okay, coming back to LeetCode, guys, it's a wonderful platform. So you can see multiple things. You can go to explore. You can explore out different things. For example, you want to read interview questions. You want to read interview experiences. You want to know about compensation. All of those things are in very well organized form, right? So this is really good. And then there's a section called discuss, which is like, I would say it's a gem for you if you utilize it properly, because you can pretty much see everything around it. There's a section for interview question, there's a section for interview experience, compensation, career, study guide. Everything is available. You just need to find the right resource. Everything is available here, right? So you can see somebody who's interviewing for Google, I'll come to that. Somebody's coming to Google, Meta, Facebook, all of these interview, whatever they're preparing. How is their interview experience? You can find for E3, E4 role, L3, L4 role. L4 is for Google. E4 is for Facebook and Twitter. Okay. So you can find what are the questions being asked. How much is the compensation for a particular thing? So you can see this particular location, L3 offer Bangalore. Similarly, you can find for whatever offer you have, whatever location, whatever the compensation. So these are something really useful, right? And you can find my post as well. So you will find in the compensation part, I have posted there long time ago. Career guidelines if you want, study guide if you want, everything is available. So this is a hidden gem. If you want to explore it properly and utilize it properly, it's going to be definitely very useful in your life. Brief overview about LeetCode. Do you need LeetCode Premium? My answer is, if you want, I would recommend definitely an advantage, but do you need it? Do you mandatorily need it? No, the answer is no. Some questions are premium questions, which will not be visible to you, but there's a website called LeetCode, which is just a copy of LeetCode. just a version where all the questions are available there. So you can submit on LeetCode as well. What covers in premium? That's what I'm saying. What covers in premium is all problems are not open to everybody. There are some problems which are premium. On what basis you will choose problems in LeetCode? Will you pick? I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. So just to explore, this was a discuss section which I want to express. Then there is a context section. So every time LeetCode has two contests. One is weekly and one is bi-weekly. So weekly happens on Sunday, 8 a.m. as per Indian Standard Time. And bi-weekly contest, I'm not sure what's the timing. So you can see the timing GMT plus whatever time range you are. Okay, so you can participate in contest as well. And then there is a section for interview. The recently added interview. Which one will you told is a copy of LeetCode, LINTCODE, LeetCode. Okay, there you can interview as well. So this section they have recently added. Let me just go back. Yeah, this section they have recently added for interview. There you can click on and give mock interview as well. Pretty much similar like Prem and Exponent and Carrot, if anybody knows. Now coming to strategy of questions, right? The good thing about LeetCode is that there's a very, very organized kind of questions which are available there. How do I told it or how do I solve the question? Depends upon various things. For example, if I see I have covered arrays, for example, if you have covered arrays in the class, so you can see the topics here. Arrays has 1068 questions, string has 519 questions, has table and all. So any particular topic which we are covered in the class, just go to LeetCode, click on it. So you'll find all the questions which are based upon arrays, right? And let it open first. You'll find a list of all questions which are based upon arrays, or you can sort by the URL also. What's taking so long? Yeah, you can see all the questions which are sorted by arrays. And you can also see the category here. For example, difficulty and all. What difference in premium is that this frequency will be unlocked and they will tell you which company has asked it. But for that, you can create an extension also if you're a very good developer. And I have created it. I'm not sure if I have pushed it online or not. I will push it. So I have an extension which will unlock you. So pretty much all the features which are available in premium will not be available in non-premium also. So nothing to worry about. And then you can start solving questions from there itself. That's one thing. Okay. So any particular topic, you can sort by topic wise. And after solving the topic wise, you can select the question and you can start solving. Cool. That is one thing about it. Second thing, which they recently introduced. So they have made these study plans, which is 14 days to crack algo, 2 weeks for DS, ultimate DP study plan. This is really good. When we'll go to DP, I highly recommend start doing with this. When we'll go to DP, this will take us few weeks from now. But when we go for this is a really good thing. I've seen their questions. So I'm a curator at LeetCode also. I designed the questions and the test cases. So this is something really good, which you have contributed. And study plans, graph theory. So they have made really good thing now. It will be really helpful for you. Then other good thing is, what is DP? DP is dynamic programming. Nothing to worry about, guys. We'll go to everything. This is just a brief overview I'm giving. We'll go to everything. DP is dynamic programming. Okay. Then some other things or some other good things is that top interview questions, top 100 live questions, they have already created a sheet. So, and then they have so let's discuss about that. So top interview questions, if I click, it will take me here. This is the list of top interview questions, right? So you don't have to do pretty much about it. So I think 108, I have solved all. Okay, they have added new questions because pretty much all the questions I have solved in top interview. So in case obviously there are 2000 above questions, right? If I see 2214 questions and every week 4 questions are added. So this will take a lot of questions. Do you need to solve all 2000 questions? The answer is no. You need to solve pretty much 150 to 180 questions or 150 to 160 questions and its variation by yourself. And that is sufficient enough for you to understand what kind of question can be asked. Because a lot of questions which are asked in product-based companies, they are variation of these questions, right? So I believe those 150 to 160 questions that you can solve is sufficient enough. Okay. And if you're really short on time, what you can do is you can drill down to 70 list of questions, which I have on my GitHub. You can check out from there itself, or I will give you the Excel sheet if you need. Those 70 questions, if you're very, very short on time, for example, you have an interview after 2 weeks and you don't have time to cover 150 questions, then solve just those 70 questions. That is sufficient enough. Sufficient enough in the sense, I'm not saying the exact question will be asked, but if you are able to solve those 70 questions by yourself, you will be able to pretty much drill down the question or come to the logic, whatever question is asked in the interview. Again, I'm not saying exact question will be asked. So don't say, sir, you gave some questions, but it is not. Please give the GitHub link. I'll give the GitHub link, guys. Just Google my name. You will find my GitHub as well. All the details will be there. Or let me show you if I have GitHub open. This is something else. That is my GitHub link. So github.com/devang25. There you can find me there, and you can reach out. Then you can go to my repositories. In repository, it will be there. Okay, cool. Coming back here. So this is what I was telling you. They have curated really good list of questions and they have segregated as well. So for example, if you can see top interview questions, these are very, very useful. So bookmark these links which are available there. Top interview question, top 100 like question. At least solve these two lists. These are not very large questions. These are, you can see 145 only, right? So not very, very large question. So if you see, you can sort them by difficulty, you can sort them by status, you can sort them by tags also. Very, very good interface, very, very easy to get the right questions and solve it. In which language do you code usually, or go to programming language? I code in multiple languages as per requirement. So in CP, I go for C++ because it is extremely fast. Otherwise, you go for Go. Otherwise, I go for Golang, Java, or Python. Depends upon which kind of statement I'm solving. Okay. And these two lists, guys, this is what I want to highlight: top interview questions and top 100 like question. Please bookmark these links. Wherever you want to bookmark, please bookmark these links. You will find a lot of questions are common to both because these are top 100 and these are around 145 something. A lot of questions are common in that. Irrespective what you do on LeetCode or what you not do on LeetCode, at least cover these two parts: top 100 and top 100 like questions and top interview questions. These are must to do. And if you do this question religiously in the sense all by yourself, I don't think you guys will go to copy and paste solutions. It's not going to be helpful for you in either way. But if you solve these 100 questions or 150, whatever it is, these two lists basically, I'm pretty much sure you will be able to crack any of the product-based companies. Any means any of the product-based companies, whatever product-based company you can think of. So please bookmark these links. That is very, very useful. Okay. That's one part, a brief overview about LeetCode as an interface. Okay. Second part, how do I solve questions when I have a particular company? For example, you are interviewing Microsoft, you're interviewing Amazon, Uber, Goldman, whatever. Now you want to ask which questions they have asked. So you can go to this list. You can click on this list. You can find the question. There you can also sort what questions they have asked in the last 6 months, because sometimes pattern keeps on changing. For a period of time, a company is asking DP questions. Suddenly they have stopped asking DP questions. For example, Google and Facebook has recently done that. They used to ask DP questions, but since last year, they have not asked DP questions. And this specifically is mentioned in their interview guidelines that they prefer as well. Okay. So just to be well updated, you can go to any particular company as well. You can find last 6 months, last 1 year, most commonly asked, and based upon frequency, you can solve that first. That is company specific preparation if you want to do. Generic preparation is this: go to this top 100 like, go to top 100 interview, and then start solving it. And even for beginner, just select the particular topic that you have learned in the class, go to click and start solving questions. I hope everybody is clear with that. That's one about the interface of LeetCode. Second, how do you solve it? Click on any question. For example, I click on this question, simple binary search question. And that will be the interface you'll be seeing common for all the questions. So it's like left side, you will be given a question, right side, you will be given a code editor. And you can select your preferred language, whatever language you want to select. C++, Java, Python, Golang, Scala, pretty much everything is available here. You don't have to take input here. You don't have to print output here. Nothing is required. All you have to do is you need to complete the function. So these function will be given in different languages. You just need to complete the function. There is no need to take input. There is no need to give output. Everything is there. You just need to focus on the function. In actual interview also, you have to do the same. You don't need to take input. You don't need to print output. Complete the function. For example, if I show it, if I just show it here, this is the part you will be given by default. All you have to do is you have to write some code, and accordingly you can write there. Whenever you write some code, you will be given some explanation of the question. You will be given some sample test cases. You will be given the constraint, and you will be given these companies, as you can see, a lock icon that will be available in premium. So you can see which company has asked this question. You can see related topics. You can see similar questions, etc., etc. Then you can just run the code. You can pass if it is passing. You can see sample test cases. You can provide list of sample test cases here. 1 second. It seems most of the people in product-based companies C++ solve the questions. So we really see. It's nothing like that, right? C++ is for beginners, right? A lot of people, they're exposed to C++ as the first language, so they are beginners. But if you see for the senior developers, SD2, SD3s, I'm SD3 at the moment, we usually go for the Java based language because we are commonly using Java and Python. Some people go for Golang as well. So it's never language specific. No good developer is language specific, just to be clear. It's all about language agnostic. Whatever language you're comfortable in, pick one language, become master in it, and you're comfortable, you will go for it. No product based company will force you to code in a particular language until and unless that role requires that. So, as far as in my knowledge, and I'm having offers from 57 offers from all the different companies, and I can tell you from my experience, no product based company has ever asked me that no, if you code in C++, we reject you, you have to code in Java. Nothing like that. Until and unless the role demands it. If the role is for a particular, let's say Java developer role, then they will expect you to write code in Java, right? But pretty much the companies are agnostic in nature. So you can see a run code result. You can give a test case there. In case of premium, you will have a debugger. So you can just put a breakpoint here. You can add debug. What is the value of that variable at that point? Once you feel, okay, test cases are passing successfully, then you can just click on submit. You'll click on submit. You will find, let it submit first. You will find that as submitted, it has passed all test cases or not passed all test cases. If it passed all test cases, you can say accepted here. You can click on details also. And in details, you can find how many test cases it passed, what is the time taken. So 47 test cases, this much time, this much memory. All of these things you can get to know in insights. So that's way, this is really good. What is your, 1 second guys, I'll come to that. So I will just go back. Yeah, that's all about LeetCode, which I wanted to share at the moment. Those who are not active or those who are not created an account, please log in guys. Please create an account and solve it accordingly. What is your LeetCode problem solving strategy? How long do you still spend on LeetCode? I spend most time on top coder now because I have qualified for top coder world finals last year as well, and this year I have qualified for regionals already, so I'll be going for finals. LeetCode is very easy now, so I rarely spend time on LeetCode now. I spend most of the time in CP, which is top coder. So I find LeetCode questions to be very easy. But that being said, if I am teaching in the class or if I'm interviewing the company because they prefer these kind of questions, so I just give time. In back in college days, what was my strategy when I was being beginner with DSA, or not beginner, intermediate or advanced with DSA before moving to CP part? What I used to do is take this top interview questions, take these top 100 questions, bookmark this link, sort them by a particular topic, start solving this. And I personally feel these two lists are sufficient enough to get you in pretty good product-based company you're targeting. That's one part. That is for generic practice, right? Generic practice in the sense I'm not doing any company specific. So these two lists, again, I'm repeating, please highlight it, guys. Highlight in the sense, please bookmark it, start solving it. Rarely 150 questions they have. Second one is 100, first one is 145. So total 145 questions, right? Most of the questions are repeated in same. That is one part. And second part is that once I have a particular interview for a particular company, then I go to that company interview and then I see what kind of questions they're asking in the past 3 months, 6 months, just to analyze the pattern. Once I'm clear with the pattern, then that's it. That's all I have to revise. After completion of the topics, let's say linked list, will you be specifying 10, 15 questions from the above list? Pretty much most of the questions which are very, very important, like very important, not even very, very, I'll be covering in the class as well. And as I said, it's available on my GitHub. So topic wise, you can find top important questions that you can find from the list also. Okay. And I will share the list here as well. Can we have a short session in future how to not to approach DSA with languages like Python, how inbuilt function should identify and avoid it? Okay, we can have a session, but at this moment I don't think I'm in the right position to comment on that. We can have a short session, but just to answer on that part, any good company or any good people, we don't expect you to use inbuilt functions. That is the idea, right? I remember once I was interviewing, like last year, I was interviewing for SD1 role at one of the top premium companies, and I asked a question for sort an array, and the candidate write the code. This is the code the candidate has written in C++. Yeah, I think the interface we have discussed in detail. So coming here, this is the code that the candidate has written. Now you tell me, if you were interviewer, will you select the candidate? The question is to sort the array. The candidate has written this code. If you were an interviewer, will you select the candidate? Obviously you won't, right? So understand the question. What is the requirement of the question? The interviewer is not focused that can you use some inbuilt function for sorting array. That is not the idea. We are looking for problem. That's why the name of this round is problem solving round. So instead of using inbuilt function or libraries, why not you write the code for that? There can be many sorting algorithms. The idea of asking the sorting question was discuss the various trade-offs of sort: merge sort, quick sort, insertion sort, selection sort, whatever different bubble sort, heap sort, radix sort, whatever sort you know. Discuss which one is the best sort, depending upon which data you are solving. So that was the idea where the problem solving it. If you write one line of code using some inbuilt function, no interviewer will going to pass you. So try to avoid this part and try to understand what is the expectations of the interview. It's better to communicate with the interview. What is the requirement? What do you want me to discuss that rather than going for this? That being said, if the question is something else and you are required to sort in middle of it, then it does not make any sense that you will create a merge sort or quick sort code here. And the question is something else and you're creating quick sort code here, whatever code you're writing here. And after that, you're importing so much. That is not required. There you can use sort as an inbuilt library. So discuss that with interviewer. Can I use this particular inbuilt function or inbuilt library as part of it? Similarly, when you're going for lead developer roles, there you will not be asked more of DSA. You will be asked, but more of you have to create the complete API interfaces. So then you can discuss, can you build inbuilt libraries or not? Or if you have to write it, discuss it. So it's better to communicate with the interview. But when the question is crystal clear, write me a code to sort it. They don't expect one-liner from you, just to be clear. Okay. Coming back to setup LeetCode and submit a question, guys. So this is what I have covered. The discuss section, which is very important. Second is top 100 questions. Then we have top interview questions. I've shown you how to submit a question. Okay. And coming to strategy, as you were asking, this is the strategy which I followed. Now LeetCode question as looks very easy to me. So I spend more time on top coder. Start with these two lists first, just to summarize the strategy. Start with these two lists. Once you're done with these two lists, then go to company specific. And in that, at least solve all the questions for last 3 months. So you're well aware what kind of questions they're recently asking. It makes no sense to solve question which they used to ask 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Then they change the pattern. So better be updated with real pattern, what kind of questions they are focusing on, why are they focusing on, and that can give you more insights about the company also, right? Just to give a brief idea, I will not disclose any company questions as such, but lot of the HFT firms, in case anybody knows, fintech firms and fintech firms and high frequency trading firms, they recently have shifted to sliding window questions. Why they are shifting to sliding window? Is there something happening that they want engineers to be very clear with sliding windows? That goes for the payment interfaces. So that gives you insight about the company as well, right? What are the companies currently working on? What product they expect? What kind of skills they expect? A lot of things can go into that. More interviews you will give, more experience you will get. But just to tell you, that's the strategy I followed. I will answer question, guys, but before that, is setup LeetCode and how to submit a question, how to efficiently use LeetCode. Is that part clear to all? Just let me know. How to efficiently use LeetCode to get your dream company or product-based company, whatever you're targeting, that should be clear to all. Okay. So those who are not active there, those who have not created an account there, please go ahead and create an account. Coming to your question, for a data engineer role, what level of LeetCode questions are good enough to get product-based company? Guys, never company specific, only for premium members. That's an extension. I will post this extension online as well, or I will share a YouTube video as well. So yes, it is available only for premium members, but as I said on LeetCode, there are many ways, right? You take any question which is premium, you just copy the question, you put on Google, you will find many websites which will give you the question and the solution, right? So don't read the solution, just read the question. That is one way of doing that. Second way is you can go to leetcode.com or leetcode.cn. It is actually hosted in China. So you can go in the LeetCode, you can see the exact question, you can submit code there. Same exact copy of LeetCode is LeetCode. Same, only difference is the premium questions are visible there. Company specific question, premium questions are visible there. That's the second way of doing it. So LeetCode, you see any portion which is premium on LeetCode, you can go to LeetCode, you can solve that company specific questions there. That's one way. So just to write it, I'm writing here also LeetCode. That's one way. Second way can be I have created an extension. So that extension will show you all questions, all code list of questions, a variety of questions. That's a Chrome extension, by the way, that can show you the question which have been asked in company. So you can unhide it. Unhide it when the sense is just a interface which locks it, right? And if you're a good JavaScript developer, you know how to crack that interface. But again, that's a hack. So don't report it to LeetCode. But you can pretty much surpass that firewall. If you're good in security, you can surpass that firewall. That's many ways. But lint code is a legal way to go for it. This is a illegal way. So prefer for lint code. I will not recommend second one. Anyhow, coming to the question somebody asked, data engineer, how much good enough is required? Guys, don't target the minimum threshold, target the maximum threshold, right? What is required so that I get placed? That should not be your target in the first place. Your target should be, why not to be good enough to nail the interview? Not just be good enough to just pass the interview. There's a difference between just passing the interview and there's a difference between nailing the interview. You are not there on the mercy of others to be passed. I just performed well, so I got the offer. No, you deserve it. That's why you get the offer. So target the upper limit, don't target the lower limit. Set your expectations high. You grind for it, so you deserve it. You are not getting it because you somehow passed the bar. Nothing there but luck. Work hard for it and demand it. The more you demand, the more you will get. Anyhow, coming back, how to set up LeetCode and submit a question. This part is clear, right? Marking this as done. Anything else? Anybody has doubt? Let me know. I think pretty much what I have to cover from my part, I have covered it here. 1 second, guys. 1 second. So let me just mark it as covered. This part clear to all? Just let me know. Will company give any pattern of questions or interview will choose randomly? Company will not give you pattern of questions, right? Interview will choose, but there is, again, I'm saying all of that depends upon your research. What kind of research you do. If you research properly, 99% before your interview, you know what kind of questions will be asked. Depends upon how much effort you put. That's what I said, right? You grind for it, that's why you demand it and you deserve it. Nothing comes easy. So just to give an idea, list of companies have very specific list of questions they ask for. Amazon, if I take an example, they definitely ask questions based upon stack, DP, trees. These are their popular questions. You can open any website, either be it Geek for Geeks, either be it LeetCode, either be it Blind. You can see the questions there. For 2 to 3 coding rounds they have for SD1s. For SD2, they have 3 coding rounds and 1 system design round for SD2. SD3, which I interviewed for, they have 5 rounds in which 2 were coding, 2 were system design, 1 is behavioral. You will find it most of their coding rounds, they're asking trees, DP stack very, very continuously. If you don't believe me, open any website yourself, analyze the pattern, you will know. It depends upon how good research you do about the company, right? So you know pretty much what they're asking. Coming to Google, they ask questions based upon DP and graphs. They always ask graph questions. Check it out. I'm not saying it, just Google it and you will be able to find pretty much all the things are available there. So you can do company specific, you can find what kind of question they'll be asked and good. But that being said, do not be biased in your preparation. The question is, or the syllabus you will be given already by it. Like this is a DSA one. In DSA, some topics are very important, some topics are less important. So focus on which company is focusing on. But company will not tell you that we are going to ask only on DP or we are only going to ask on this. No, that I have not seen any company doing that. So DSA has a defined set of syllabus. So just cover this syllabus one by one. That will be covered by this end of course. Then more and more questions you will do on it, which you will do in the class as well. The more confidence you will gain, pretty much you will be able to sail through. Okay. First part we have done, guys. Let's start with the DSA basics. Then we'll go to array part. Shall we start? Any more doubts or shall we start? Cool. Okay, guys, let's start with DSA basics. Like just a brief about what is a DSA in general. Then we'll go with the array part. So let me just start with here. Some of you might know, some of you might not know. Just to define, DSA are 2 different terms. Usually people combine them as one. No, they are very, very different 2 terms. DS means data structures. A means algorithms. That's what you call as DSA. But it's not one part. These are 2 very, very individual different parts, right? Combining these 2 parts is solve the question. Anybody in one line can tell me what is the difference between a data structure and an algorithm. Just one line, not more than one line. Come on, guys. I believe these terms are not new for you. You guys already know it. Data structure is arrangement of data. Okay. Anybody else? DS are used to write algorithms. So you're saying I cannot write an algorithm without DS? Storage and logic. Okay. Algorithms are operations on data. Okay. Logic to be implemented. Okay. If algorithm is a logic, what is DS? Structuring data algo, step-by-step approach, building block of storage. DS is building block of storage. Okay. The way we handle data, algo using particular way. Structuring the data, step-by-step instructions, way to organize data. Okay. 5 more seconds, guys, then I will discuss answer. Just let me see. Algo steps to achieve a solution. Okay. Form of data. Form of data. Okay. Cool, guys. As I said, 5 more seconds. The time is enough. Talks about storage, how efficiently you perform it. How efficiently we are performing, there are different things for that, right? We come into complexity analysis. That's how we define how complex, how efficiently we are coding a particular thing. Instructions to perform a task. Okay, cool, guys. Let's understand it, and we'll discuss about that. I believe more or less all of you have a very good understanding, but not the crisp or precise understanding. Understand it in interview when somebody is saying give it in one line. So answer in one line only. Don't go it for 2-3 minutes. One line means one line, right? And the more easier and crisp way you can explain it to other person, the more easy and quick way you are clear yourself, right? That shows how clear you are also. Optimizing data as per our use. Okay. Cool, guys. Let's have a definition about it. Then we'll take a practical example also. So this is DS. And there I will tell you a practical example also, that which pretty much will clear the difference. And by the way, most of the answers that you have given is correct. So nothing is they are incorrect. It's just that how do you put it? What are data structure? Data structures are nothing. These are containers used to store data. That's all. That's all, nothing else. Data structures are just the containers which are used to store data. Okay. Container means something which is used to contain the data, and as already written, it is used to store the data. That is why the name is data structures. They are structuring something. What is algorithm? Algorithm is just step-by-step process to solve the question using appropriate data structures. That's it. That is the definition. So let me just put this. This is algorithms and this is here. So what are data structures? Data structures are just the containers which is used to store the data. Algorithms is just a step-by-step process to solve the question using appropriate data structures. Okay, let's understand each one of them in detail. What container I'm using to store my data? There can be a variety of containers. Some example of data structures are arrays, linked list, trees, graphs, stacks, queues. All of these are trees, graphs, then RBTs, etc., tries, and all this. All of these are data structure. They are just storing the data. They are just storing the data. Can you put the data in all of them? Yes. Can you put the data in any of them? Yes. Which one to put depends on the question. Which one to put depends on the question. RBT is red, black, tree. Okay. Coming to algorithms. In the algorithms is dynamic programming, your search or binary search, linear search, whatever you call. Then your backtracking, your greedy, your recursion, etc. Okay. These are the algorithms. They are the step-by-step process which are telling you how to solve a question using appropriate data structure. Whenever we are given a question in DSA or when question in coding in general, I'm not talking about the complete microservices part. I'm just talking about basic DSA questions. So these questions, when you are given to us, we have to choose the appropriate set of the data structure and the appropriate algorithm to solve that question. Under which DS Python dictionary fall under? Your Python dictionary falls here. So map we call in C++, hash map we call in Java, our dictionary we call in Python, same thing. Map in C++, hash map or three different kind of hash map in Java, dictionary in Python. Okay, cool. So what I was saying is, whenever you're given a problem statement, how do we go for problem solving rounds is a problem statement, what is your writing will be provided, right? Or what is your writing will be provided. Yeah, okay. I thought you say, am I selling all this? No, I'm not selling all this. That will be provided all of as notes. No, don't worry about it. Okay. That will be uploaded to your LMS also, which I covered in beginning as. So what is a problem solving round specifically? A question is given to you. Understanding the question, understanding the requirement of the question, you have to choose the right set of data structure, because obviously you can put data anywhere you want. Any data structure you can select to put the data. But are all of them efficient enough? No. For example, just to give an idea, insertion in array will take big of n time. Linked list insertion will take big of 1 time. So what kind of operations you are performing? Based upon that, you have to select the right data structure and you have to select the right algorithm for the same. That is all about your data structure and algorithms. Is this definition clear to all? Let me know. Then I will go to practical example. Is this definition clear to all? Let me know. Then I'll go to practical example. Can I consider hashing as an algorithm technique? Hashing is an algorithm technique. It's not you can consider, hashing is an algorithm technique. Based upon hashing, two data structures are implemented, which is set and map. So just to add here, set and map. These are data structures which are built on the top of hashing. Anyhow, that was a theoretical definition. Coming to practical example. Let's understand this with a very simple practical example. Okay. Let's say I will not take much time. I'll take only 2 minutes to explain practically so that I will revise it all and it will become crystal clear. First thing, suppose I believe all of you have seen buckets, right? All of you have seen buckets of water. Yeah, just let's explain it practically, then it will become very clear. Buckets of water, everybody has seen buckets, yes or no? Everybody has seen buckets, cool. Let's say what I want to do is, or my task is, I want to store 20 liters of water. That is my task. I just want to store 20 liters of water. What I have now is, I have 5 buckets and capacity of each bucket is 10 liters. Does that sound good? I just want to store 20 liters of water. I have 20 liters of any liquid which I want to store, and I have 5 buckets, capacity of which is 10 liter. You guys tell me, yeah, 10 liter each, 10 liter each. So 50 liter in total, 10 liter each. So you have to tell me, what are the ways I can store the water? What are the ways I can use to store the water? Okay, let's talk about first way. What I can do is, let's name as B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. B1, I will put 10 liter. B2, I will put 10 liter. And B3, B4, B5, they will be empty. Is that a correct way? Is that a correct way? Of course, it's a correct way. I have to store 20 liters only, right? Is there any other way? Of course, there is any other way. What I can do is, I can equally divide buckets. I can equally divide water in the bucket. So I can keep B1 as 4 liter, B2 as 4 liter, B3 as 4 liter, etc. etc. Basically, I can equally distribute the same. And finally, B5 as 4 liter. Is there any other way also? Is there any other way also? There are many ways. There are many ways we can distribute 20 liters of water in 5 buckets, right? Many other ways. What I'm telling you here is, your bucket is used to store the water. Agree? And your ways is to ways to store data or ways to store water. This part clear to all? I've just given a very practical example and I'm coming back to why I use this example. What was my task? My task was, I have 20 liters of water. I want to store it. What do I have in my hand? I have in my hand is 5 buckets, each with the capacity 10 liter. And there are many ways to do that. These are just written 2 ways. You can make many ways to do that. Okay. If you observe carefully, your water is what? Your water is the data that you're storing. Your bucket is what? Bucket is the data structure in which you are storing the data. And the ways you are using, that is the algorithms. Now your definition should become crystal clear. What you are storing? Water. How you are storing? In a bucket. Where you are storing? In a bucket. That is a data structure, or a container. Container is just used to contain the data. How you are storing? What are the different ways to store it? All of these are algorithms. Is this example clear? Is this example clear? Cool. Now coming back to a definition we discussed. What are data structures? Data structures are just containers which are used to store the data. Consider data as water. All of these are different variety of buckets, whatever, wherever you want to put. Each bucket has different capacity. Each bucket has different advantage. Each bucket has different operations. Each bucket has different complexity. Just to be clear. What are algorithms? What are different ways in which you can store the data? Step-by-step process to solve the question. So these number of ways or possible ways in which you can store the data in the bucket or store the water in the bucket. Are practical and theoretical definition all clear to all? Just let me know. Here is the practical example and here is the definition of DS and D. Quickly give me clear, guys. If it is clear, then we can start with our next topic. Easy. Anybody is finding difficult, anybody is finding anything, just feel free to stop me there. If it's good, let's start with next topic. Next topic we are going to start is first with our data structures, then we'll go to next part. First thing we are going to start is arrays. Okay, first data structure, very easy data structure is arrays. Let's start with that. I will mark this as done. Okay, and after discussing it, then we'll go to list of questions we have to solve. Okay, starting with arrays, guys. Very first thing, why do we need an arrays? And just to be clear, guys, this is the format I would like to teach. And if you want to change it, let me know. But this I have been teaching for past 3.5 years, so almost 4 years. It has been working very fine. Any data structure, any algorithm, if you want to become a master in it, master in the sense, any question comes, you're able to solve it quickly. Just answer 3 questions about that DS or algo first. If you know the answer to these 3 questions about that DS or algo, I think pretty much all the questions you will be able to solve related to that DS or algo. So I'll discuss this, what is what and what, why and how. What means, what is the use case of that data structure or algorithm? Why are the applications? How is the coding or implementation? Use case / need. Let's just give 1 or 2 minutes for it, then we'll go to the arrays. Understand one thing clearly, guys. For storing similar type of data, I'll come to it. Understand one thing clearly, guys. What is the need of a particular DS or an algo? And understand one thing very clearly here. There are so many data structures. There are so many algorithms. Can you guys tell me which is the best data structure? Any one of you? Can you tell me which is the best data structure in the world? That's my question to you. Anybody can tell me which is the best data structure in the world? Which is the best sorting algorithm in the world? Which is the best algorithm in the world? Come on, guys. Simple question. Which is best sorting algo? Which is best DS? Which is best algo? Anybody can tell me. None of you can tell me. Why? One thing I can understand with common sense. If there was a best data structure, if there was, then what is the need to study rest of all? Make sense? If there is something best, why am I studying all of them? I should study that only. Agree or not? Simple common sense. If there is something best, why I am wasting time on studying all of it? I should directly study that also if there is something best. Same goes for algorithm. If there is a best algorithm in the world, why I'm focusing on reading all of these? I should just spend time on reading that, right? Or practicing that. That makes common sense that there is no best data structure, there is no best algorithm in the world. Okay. Each of the data structure, each of the algorithm, they are very, very specific in their own use case. They are very specific in what kind of problem they solve, which efficient complexity they solve, and no other DS or no other algo can compete in that. That's the first part. Okay. So you need to understand any data structure you are going to learn, any algorithm going to learn, first ask yourself why we are learning it or what is the purpose of this data structure. And be very clear, there will be a use case, there has to be a use case of the data structure. If the same problem can be solved by other data structures, why are we creating a new data structure? Understand it logically. If I say a problem can be solved by array, then why do we need linked list? Common sense. You're creating a new data structure, you're writing the code, and you're making the entire world learn it. There has to be a particular reason for it. Agree, right? You cannot create a data structure just because you feel like doing it. There has to be 100% reason why you're creating a data structure, why you're making the entire world in the sense, entire computer science engineering to learn about it. Every data structure is unique in its use case. Every data structure is unique in its algorithms. So what is the use case of that DS? What is the use case of that algorithm? That's the first thing you should ask. What is that problem which that DS or algo is solving, which no other DS or algo is able to solve? There has to be that what part. That is what you call as use case. Second part is this real life applications. A lot of time in product-based companies, you will get the questions based upon real life applications. You'll not be asked directly about a particular algo or a particular DS. You'll be directly asked the application question. And third part is how it is coded or implemented in whatever language you want to do. This three part is clear to all: what, why, and how. If you're clear with this what, why, and how of any part of all the DS and algo, I think there's no question that you cannot solve. Okay. So before starting any particular DS algo, try to answer these three questions first. What is that problem or what is the use case that that particular DS or algo is solving, which no other DS algo is able to solve? First part. Second, what are its real life applications? And third, how it is coding or implemented, whatever language you want to code in. Okay. And be rest clear, guys. If the same problem is solved by some other DS or some other algo, then you don't need to read that. Makes sense, right? Will you buy a new jacket with the exact same color, of the exact same size, of the exact same brand? No. There should be something different. Either color should be different, either size should be different, or brand should be different. Something should be different, right? Why I will get exact two jackets or any piece of cloth exactly same? I won't, right? So it has to be something different. Even if it can be solved with two data structures, there will be difference in complexity. There will be difference in space complexity. There will be difference in time complexity. Something will be different. One will be brute force, one will be optimized, one will be better. Somewhere one will be better. Better is a comparative term, so I'm not saying good or bad. So one will be better. So there has to be some different. If both two things are exactly same, then there is no point in understanding that. Okay, that's the one part. Is this part clear to all, guys, before starting with arrays? Cool. Now let's start with arrays. First thing, understand what is the use case of arrays. What is the use case of array and why do I need to create arrays? And understand the use case, let's try the problem statement first. In case you don't know about arrays, very beginners, until now we have not covered arrays, right? If I ask you, create me 10 integers, how will you do it? I just want you to create me 10 integers. How will you do it? We have covered variables, we have covered constant. So we'll say integer A, B, C, D until whatever 10 size will do it. That's how we'll do it. Agree? In case you don't know about arrays, you just know about variables and constant. That's how you will do. Okay, I will create 10 variables of integer. Makes sense? No problem. It will solve my case. If I say create 1000 integers, now what will you do? If I ask you to create 1000 integers, now you will be stuck. Why you will be stuck? If you are naming by AB, so AB till, we know there are only 26 characters, right? You can create only 26, but you can name it, of course. So you will say like, I will name it A1, I will name it till Z1, again 26. Many variations you can create, but somehow you'll be able to create 1000 integers. There's always thing which can be done. But remember, once you have created 1000 variables, imagine 1000 variables. How will you access those 1000 variables? There's very high chances you will be messing up somewhere down the line. Creating 1,000 variables and then using those 1,000 variables is very difficult. First of all, you have to name them A1, A2, A3, A5, A6 until very long numbers. 1,000 is very big, right? And then you have to use all these 1,000 numbers. That will become very complicated for you to handle in your code. Agree? Creating 2 variables, easy. 10 variables, somewhat easy. 1,000 variables, not easy. You're not able to handle that in the code. If I ask you to change 556 variable, if you don't even remember which one is 556, and pretty much you will mess up in the code. All agree with that? I'm trying to come to the use case of arrays. What is the need to create an array? Got it? Cool. That brings me to the use case of array. Why do we need an array? Array is nothing. Array is just collection of similar type of data elements of data types stored in contiguous location. That's it. One line definition of array. 2 words I will be highlighting here. What is array? Array is just a collection of similar type of data types stored in a contiguous location. First word, similar type of data type. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will I call it an array? Will I call it as an array? Yes or no? Will I call this as an array? Yes, I will call this as an array because all values are of the same data type. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll call this as array of integers. Okay. What about this? A, B, C, D. Will I call this as an array? Will I call this as an array? Of course, all values are character. I will call this as yes, array of characters. Okay. What about this? 1, 2, 3, P, 4, 5. Q. Should I call this as array of characters or array of numbers? Should I call this as array of characters or array of numbers? If you see, majority of the elements are integers. Few elements are characters. So should I call it as array of character or array of integers? Correct. The answer is this is not an array. There is nothing called hybrid array, guys. There is nothing called hybrid array. There's nothing called mixed array. So don't be confused. There's nothing called hybrid or mixed array. You cannot create different data types under one umbrella of array. That removes the whole definition of an array. It can be character array. It can be character array because storing only one value. If I make them 10, 20, 10, 20, 30, 50. Now it can never be a character array because character takes only 1 byte, right? 1, 2, 3 can be used as character. Yeah, that just to clarify that I've changed it to 10, 20, 30. Now it cannot be a character array also. Okay. What I'm saying is array didn't get you. Yeah, let me complete first, then you can ask the question. Character array 1. So what the some of them recommending is a character takes 1 byte in the memory, right? So in that 1 byte, either you can create any particular character. It can be 0 to 9. It can be any character A to Z, capital A to Z, anything. So 0 to 9 also can be treated as a character. That's what they were recommending. That is correct. That is technically correct. What I am saying is in an array, all values have to be of the similar data type. Similar means same data type as of now. There are many cases, for example, int and long, you can use the same, but int and long in the sense, int, byte and short, you can use the same. But so consider this as the same data type. So in an array, it has to be a collection of same data type. I cannot create few values from other data type and few values from new data type. That is not allowed. So if I'm saying this is array of integer, this is array of characters. This is not a mixed array. There is no concept called mixed array. It can never be. Because the definition of array is you are storing a collection of homogeneous object. Homogeneous object means something which has the same data type. Okay. So I cannot store a different data type and call that as homogeneous. That will become heterogeneous. So collection of similar type of data types stored in a contiguous location, that is array. What about object array? That is something else. So if you're creating an array of objects, in that object also you have to follow the properties of the object. You can miss one or two values. If I create, let's just give an example. If I define a particular T, a template, and I create an array of template in Java, in that template also, whatever object I'm creating here, I have to keep it standard across. So it's very similar like SQL versus NoSQL, right? When you're keeping the standard, when you're keeping the structure across the same, it has to be across the same. Array store exception. Array store exception. That's a blob storage they are talking about. In Python list, we can contain heterogeneous. Python, understand this, guys. Python, everything is an object. See, this is array of integers. That's what I differentiated in last time also. Compiled time languages and interpreted languages, the difference is that interpreted languages are loosely typed. So they don't have any particular data type associated. That's what I told you, right? Integer a equal to 10. This is the code in any compiled time languages, whatever syntax you can associate. If I give a equal to ABC, this will give me an error. 100% it will give me an error. In case of Python or JavaScript, in case of interpreted languages, to be very precise, I can do this and I can do this. This is not going to give me any error. I can do this also. Nothing is going to give me an error because A is an object here, right? So depending upon whatever value you are giving, it will adjust its type of. Just to tell you, you can check in your browser also. Type of A you will do, it will give you number. Type of A you will do here, it will give you string. Same value, you can change its type. How you are able to do it? Because default type is object. Here the default type is integer. You try to change that integer, not gonna happen. It will not allow you to do so. Okay. So giving example that Python can contain heterogeneous, nothing like that. Python also all objects are object. It's just that you can use different data types there. That's all. Okay. Now coming back quickly, guys, what is the use case of array first? Use case of array is when you have to create large number of same type of data type, it is not a good idea to create as many variables. You can combine them or you can club them under one window. That one window is called arrays. Quickly revising, what is the purpose of array? What is the use case of array? Is that when you have to use same type of data types, large number of same type of data types, then it doesn't make sense to create that many large number of variables. You can club them under one common window and you can call that as array. So what is array? Array is a collection of similar type of data types which are stored in a contiguous location. Contiguous location I'll come later. First part I am covering, which is similar type of data types. So this is an array of integer. This is array of characters. This will not qualify as an array. Similarly, I can create array of string also. So let me just create quickly an array. Will you call this an array? Yes or no? Will you call this an array? Correct. This is an array. This is array of strings. Okay. Any data type array you can create. You can create array of integer, character, boolean, string, float, double, whatever you want. The whole idea of the array is collecting similar type of data types in contiguous location. This part clear to all. The use case part clear to all of arrays. Just let me know. Okay. Until now, I have covered just this part. This part I have covered. This part I have not covered. What would be the character array? Character array would be like this. This is already there, right? A, B, C, D if you see here. This is your character array. A, B, C, and D. You can see this is an array of characters. Okay. Second part I have not covered yet, which is contiguous location. And there's a reason I have not covered yet. Okay. I'll cover it after indexing. It will make more sense after indexing. So first part we are clear, collection of similar type of data type stored in contiguous location. Now let's have a look at the syntax. Let's have a look at the syntax. Syntax is pretty much similar. So whatever language you are doing, pretty much similar. Few things will be here and there. Syntax is this: type, name, and size of the array. Type, name, and size of the array. Type is the data type, name is the name of the array, and size is the size of the array. For example, integer a5. This means I'm creating an array of integer of size 5. It means it can contain how many integers? This can contain how many integers? Of course, 5 integers because size I've given as 5. If I'm saying character A5, this array can contain 5 characters. What will happen if I try to insert 6 character? What will happen if I try to insert 6 character? How will you insert 6 character? It's only will have only 5 values, right? It will give you an array out of bound exception. Okay, array index out of bound exception. Similarly, if I create string a of 10, this can contain, so S is a class in Java. So class always start with a capital name and data type start with a small name. So if I'm writing capital S, that is in Java. If I'm writing small s, that is in C++, just to be clear. Okay, string of A10, or I can do is float of A10. Similarly, Boolean or bool, whatever you want to call, you can create as well. That is the syntax. You can create a type, whichever data type you want. You can create the name of the array and you can define its size. That's how you can create an array. Let's take a simple example. Integer array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now guys, either you define the array size first or you define the array size at when you're initializing. Both are correct. Two ways are there. Either first you do this. Let me write first way and second way. Both were correct. Integer a5. Then you give a equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is also correct. And second way, you are not defining the size here, but you are directly giving the value here. So based upon whatever the number of count, it will adjust itself. That is also correct. Both ways are correct. But you cannot do this. You cannot do this. Why you cannot do this? Why I cannot do this? Correct. You are telling the compiler, hey compiler, and first of all guys, let's understand basic things also. One integer take 4 bytes in the memory. How much size A will take? One integer take 4 bytes in the memory. How many integers you are creating? Correct. You're creating 5 integers. 5 into 4, 20 bytes in the memory. Easy. One float take 4 bytes in the memory. 4 into 10, 40 bytes you are occupying. Okay. Character take 1 byte, 1 into 5, 5. So whatever, if you have to find the size of the array or whatever size it will be occupying in the memory, size in the sense, size it will be occupying in the memory, just find the size of the array, multiply it by its time. Okay. So 5 into 4, 20, 5 into 1, 1, 10 into 4, 40, 10 into 1, 1. That is 10 bits, that is 10 bytes, just to be clear. Bool take 1 bit, character take 1 byte. And bool in Java take 2 bytes, just to be clear. Character take 2 bytes in Java. Anyhow, so this is the first way, this is the second way we discussed. This first way is correct because if you define 5 values, you can initialize only 5 values. Okay. Also, this is also correct because last value will be initialized to 0. Okay. So both are correct. Whatever minimum size you are saying, that is fine. All values will be initialized to, the rest values will be initialized to 0. That is correct. Second way, you don't give the size, but instead of giving the size, the moment you are defining it, that you are creating the array. So whatever values you are creating, based upon its size, it will adjust. If I do like this, and I say system.out.println, and I say a.length, which is my array.length, you will get the output as 5. Whatever size you are associating, although I have not defined that array size is 5, but I have declared it here that this is going to be 5. That's why the output will be 5. And in this case, the output will be error, index out of bound. Is this part clear to all guys? Just let me know. Is this part clear to all? Just let me know. And just on the same note, can anybody tell me what's the difference between declaration and definition? One line. One line means one line. Difference between declaration and definition. 628 is declaration. Okay. And what is definition? 629 is definition. Okay. Guys, the concept is same. Declaration, definition, concept is same. Be it for variable, be it for data structures, be it for functions, concept is same. Okay. So don't confuse. Are you asking for functions or are you asking for variables? No. So just clear that part here also. Declaration and definition. Declaration is when you're creating it. Creation or whatever you want to call. Or blueprint. Not even blueprint. The right term is creation here. Definition is assigning value. Assigning value. When you create something, be it a function, be it a variable, be it an array, or be it any data structure, that is called declaration. The moment you assign value to it, that is become a definition. Okay. No actual memory located. No, that is not the right definition. Actual memory located, that is not the right definition. Guys, there is nothing like memory will be allocated later. Nothing like that. Understand this. Integer A. I just created an integer A. This time I am asking a compiler, give me 4 bytes of memory in my main memory. Agree? Integer A. This point I'm creating an integer. It will take 4 bytes in the memory. Yes or no? If you are saying that, copy this, paste this. Are you saying that this will take the memory and this will not take the memory? Are you saying that 655 will take the memory, 657 will not take the memory? The answer is no. Both will take the memory. The moment you say integer A, int, the compiler will read this keyword int. It will understand 4 bytes I need. So it will occupy that 4 bytes for you. Okay. Whatever value you are storing there, that's a different part. But memory is allocated at this moment only. The moment this code is compiled, memory is allocated. If you keep it empty, you keep whatever you want to give, that is up to you. Okay, understand this part also. If I don't give any value to A, will my memory will not be used? If I don't give any value to A, will my memory will not be used? Memory will still be used. Either you can give A equal to 10, 20, 30, whatever you want to give, but memory will be used. That much memory is already occupied in your system. Okay. Whatever you want to use, it's up to you. But memory is occupied when you're creating it. At the declaration, memory creation happens, not at the definition. First part. This creation, this is what you call as creation. I have created an integer, or I've created an array, or I've created a function, whatever you call it. That is called declaration. That is called declaration. When you say A equal to 10, when you say A equal to 10 or any value for that matter, that is when you are assigning a value to it. That is called definition. Is this part clear to all? Is this part clear to all? The difference between declaration and definition, and concept remains same for whatever you are extending it to. So this is for variable. Coming to array, this is this is your, so this is just to write it here. Yes, declaration same as initialization. This is definition. Okay. Declaration, when you're just creating the value, this is definition when you are initializing the values. Okay. When you're giving values to it, when you're assigning values to it, that is definition, and this is declaration when you're creating it. This part clear to all? Just let me know. Okay, now moving on to next phase. So this array I was talking about, or let me just come here and take it separately. Just focus on this part. Let's take it here. When you create an array like this, and you are saying a dot length, what is actually happening inside the array? Let's see the actual happening inside the array. I know my size is 5, right? Because I have initialized with 5 values. And by the way, this is what? Is this declaration or definition? Line number 662. Is this declaration or definition? Guys, it is both. It is both. Left part you're declaring, right part you're initializing. So that is declaration. Declaration plus definition, both can be done together also. Similar to this. Either you write like this or you directly write like this. There also you are creating declaration plus definition together. Okay, cool. Coming back to the array. So I've created my size as 5. What I want to do next is there is something called indexing. Indexing in an array always go from 0 to size minus 1. So my size is 5, so it will go for 0 to 5 minus 1, which is 4. And how it will look in the memory is 0 index. Okay, it is having the value of 1. So a of 0, let's write it as a of 0, it is storing the value 1. A of 1, it is storing the value 2. And just keep on copy paste for all the values we have. A of 2, A of 3, A of 4, and just change the values what we have. This is what is called indexing. Indexing means, first of all, what is indexing and what is the purpose of indexing? Understand that part also. You have 5 different values, but there should be some way that you are able to access any value. Agree? Remember the first problem what we had? The problem that we had is, if there are 1,000 variables, how will I access those 1,000 variables? I need to keep a mapping somewhere. Think it this way. All of you have read a book, right? In book, there's something called page numbers. With the page number, you're able to uniquely identify there is page number for that. So if you have to go on page number 76, just take an example in a book, you can directly go to that page 76. Every page number is unique because that is used to identify every page number, right? If there were no page number, how will you go there? It will become very chaotic for you to understand. Imagine a book. If there is no page number in the book, it will become very, very chaotic for you. You have to scroll through all the pages every time. It will become very difficult for you to handle. Whole purpose of creating a page number is that you can go, I'm coming to that. Whole purpose of that is you can go and you can initialize it there, or not initialize in the sense you can go to a particular page, you can read that page or you can access that page. That is the whole purpose. Same goes with an array. Imagine array is a book. Imagine array is a book. All the values are page numbers. So there should be a unique way, there should be a unique identifier to which I can go and I can access that element. That identifier is called indexing or index in general. So each index is corresponding to a unit. So A0 will be 1, A1 will be 2, A2 will be 3, A3 will be 4, A4 will be 5. Okay. Why indexing starts from 0? Because we follow that as part of general convention. Indexing start from 0 because we are following that as part of general convention as such. Can I start from 1 also? You can start from 1 also. It's not a hard and fast rule that you have to always start from 0. In memory, we always keep it from 0 because we keep the counting, we start from 0. In programming, you start the counting from 0. That's why. But can you do it from 1? Of course, you can do it from 1. You can do it from any index you want. Okay. This part clear to all? Just let me know. What is the purpose of indexing? The purpose of indexing, or let me write it here also. What is purpose of indexing? Uniquely identify a particular data element in array. In a list of values, if you have to uniquely identify a particular value, how do you do that? There should be some unique identifier. There should be some unique value which is pointing to it. That unique value is index. Okay. So each of these elements, 5, 10, 100, 1,000, whatever you have, all of them will have a unique index. Each one of them will have a unique index. It starts from 0 till n minus 1. So this is 0 to 4. A of 0, you're talking about this value. A of 1, you're talking about this value. A of 4, you're talking about this value. This part clear to all? Just let me know. Anybody else has doubt, please feel free to ask. Anybody has doubt, please feel free to ask. Clear. Okay. One more thing I want to ask is, if I create A of 5, and if I say system.out.println A of 5, what will be the output? If I say A of 5 in this array, what will be the output? 0. Okay. Then I'm getting different options. First one is 0. Second one is garbage value. Third one is exception. Fourth was an error. So let's make it MCQ. Which one is correct? On the same note, guys, what is the difference between error and exception? That's not related to DSA, but just asking you, what's the difference between error and exception? Exception can be handled. Errors cannot be handled. So errors cannot be handled. Error is system generated. Error cannot be handled. Okay. Then what we are doing as a developer, if we are not able to handle error, what's the purpose of us being a developer? Exception is runtime, error is compile time. Okay. Even errors are divided into two types, compile time and runtime. Then why do we call runtime error? Why don't we call runtime exception and compile time errors? We always say compile time error, runtime error. So both are errors. These are very basic thing, guys. Nothing related with DSA, but it's good to know about these things. Okay. Coming back, this will throw you an error. This will be a compile time error, just to be clear. That error you will see is index out of bound. Okay. Index will go out of bound. Why index will go out of bound? Because you are creating an array of size 5 and you are asking me to access the sixth value. You're creating an array of size 5. You're asking me to access the sixth value. N index means n plus 1 value you're asking me, right? This is first value. This is second, third, fourth, fifth value. You're asking me the sixth value to access. There is no sixth value. That's why it will give you this error. This part is clear to all. Just let me know. Okay. Same goes for this. If you put a minus 1, a minus 2, any negative index which does not exist, same thing will happen here. So any value which is greater than the size, any value which is smaller than 0, it will give the same output. Anyhow, now coming back to the arrays. Quickly winding up what we have done, then I will go to its questions. First thing first, we clear the difference between DS and A with the practical and theoretical example. We understood the use case of the array where I have to create a list of, not even list of, index out of bound runtime exception, right? It is index out of bound. Yes, this is runtime. What difference between an exception? Why don't you guys figure out and tell me? Take one day, Google wherever you want to Google, come with any reason, we'll discuss tomorrow. Take your time. If I'll tell you everything, you will not search, right? So take your time, you come with an explanation, then we'll discuss in the next class. We have a next class tomorrow also, so don't worry. But it's a very basic thing, so you should be clear about it. And what is compile time and runtime also, guys? Well, this program will be compiled and this program will be executed. This will give you a compile time error, not as a runtime error, because at the compile, this is the size is 5. Arrays are compile time, guys. Remember that. When you are creating an array, all of that is happening at the compilation time. Memory allocation, values allocation, all of that is happening compile time. This is not a runtime exception. This is a compile time exception. Or even if you do it on LeetCode, it will show you compile time as well. Let me show you. If I can quickly code and show you here. Yeah, this will give you compile time error. I think my LeetCode is visible. Just let me know if it's visible to all. Okay, let's quickly code something just to show you. Bits std c++.h, and I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to use a namespace. Std. Let me just increase the size so you guys can see as well. Okay, all I'm doing is I'm just creating an integer array. Just give some value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just print cout a of 10. Any random value you want to print. Now, if I run this code, this 1 second, just come here. Runtime error, index 10 out of bound for type 5, this undefined here sentence. This is what I was saying. Out of bound exception it will give you, but this is incorrect. This is not runtime. This is compile time. The reason being, when you're compiling it, at that moment it is locating the size of 5. And when you're saying a of time at compile time, this will give you this. Okay. Technically, it should be compile time error. Not sure what is saying runtime error. It has to be a compile time error. Anyhow, coming back here, this part. Yeah, this part. So we are revising about arrays. We have discussed about the use case of array. Use case of arrays when you have a lot of particular data types which you want to store it is not a good idea to create that many variables. What we can do is we can club those variables together, call these variables as arrays. This is similar type of data type stored in contiguous location. Okay. We'll discuss the example of arrays. We come to the syntax. What are different ways to initialize an array? We discussed that. We also cleared declaration versus definition. We got index out of bound, and we discussed various types as well. Okay. Indexing also we cleared. Now, one thing I have parked for later. This is the time to pick that thing. Contiguous location, I told you I'll cover. Now it's the time to cover. Let's understand why did I say contiguous location. Let's understand what is contiguous location. Then our array will be completed, and then we can go to questions. Okay. Contiguous location, array values are stored in contiguous location. What does that mean? And just to be clear, there are two terms, contiguous or continuous. The meaning is same. When somebody says contiguous or somebody says continuous, the meaning is same. These are synonyms. Okay. Let's understand what does that mean. Integer a, I'm creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Its index will range from 0 to 4. One integer takes 4 bytes in the memory. Total memory will be what? One integer takes 4 bytes. Total memory will be what? 20 bytes in the memory. Now, understand this and understand it very clearly. When you say 20 bytes in memory, is it any program that you run? Is it stored in your main memory or it's stored in your secondary memory? Basically primary memory or secondary memory. And I hope everybody knows primary versus secondary memory. You're writing a program is taking some memory. Where is that memory coming from? That part everybody agrees, right? No program is running on free memory. Somewhere it is occupying some memory. Which memory it is occupying? Be quick, guys. 5 more seconds, then I will discuss. Stored in secondary and will point from primary. Stored in secondary will point from memory. Okay, let me ask it this way. You know about hard disk in your memory, right? So is your program running on your hard disk? That's what you're saying. Is your program running in your hard disk? Okay, then another example of secondary memory could be a pen drive. So you're saying my program is running on pen drive. So if I take out the pen drive, program will not run. Something should be there, right? Wherever any code is executed, those values stored in primary memory. Okay. Anybody else? Program stored in secondary memory, program running. No, when we are talking about memory, we are talking about program. Okay, understand one thing. You are saying I write a C++ code and I name this as main.cpp. This CPP code you can store anywhere. You store in Google Drive, you store in pen drive, you store in CD. I am not asking that part. All I'm asking is when you run the code, that running the code, the memory is used, right? You main. Okay, let's come into the very basics. In your CPP code, if I create this array, will this CPP be of 20 bytes? You're telling this 20 bytes? No, obviously no, right? When you will run this code, in this code, you're creating this array that will take 20 bytes. My question is, where is those 20 bytes stored? Correct. Those 20 bytes or whatever size it is, that is stored in primary memory. And to be very precise, they are stored in RAM. There are segments of primary memory, very precisely, they are stored in RAM, random access memory. Okay. That is why when you are coding, not coding specifically, when you are performing very large operations, you will see your program has become slow. I'm not sure anybody is using Android Studio or React Native, but when you try to use Android Studio in a very, let's say 4 GB RAM laptop, most probably your laptop will hang. Most probably it will hang. Okay, so I have used Android Studio. Yeah, 4 GB or even with 8 GB, if you're doing very, very large applications with React Native, with VS Code, with Golang, it will take very much long time. That's the reason for that. Whatever program you're writing, that program is executed in the RAM. And I hope everybody knows about RAM. So I will not discuss more in detail. Basic things you know about operating system, right? How does execution happens? How does processor happens? RAM, just to tell you, comes in 4 GB, 8 GB, and you can increase it accordingly as well. Out of that 4 GB, not all 4 GB is available for your own use case, right? So some is available for you. Even in that, various other applications, they are also using it the same. Okay. Other applications are also using it at the same time. So when you create a memory, when you create a program which is taking very much large amount of memory, but basically very large amount of RAM, that is when your program will become slow or your computer will become slow. Cool. Coming back here, so this is volatile memory RAM in which your program is being running on. Now, if I just draw a diagram for it, let's say the address of A of 0. A of 0 is what? A of 0 is storing what? A of 0 is storing 1. Okay. That is what we call as base address. Let's assume that that base address is 1000. Again, I'm assuming it. I'm not saying it is 1000. I'm just assuming it. Can anybody of you tell me what is going to be the address of A of 1? Is it going to be 1001? Is it going to be 1004? They are consecutive, right? They are continuous location, they are contiguous. So it should be 1001, correct? The answer is it will be 1000 plus it is taking one more integer. One more integer. So it is 1 into 4. It will be 1004. This will be 1004. Make sense? This will be 1004. Similarly, if I copy this and paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. Address of A of 2, address of A of 3, address of A of 4. This will be 3, this will be 4, this will be 5. This is storing 2 integers, this is storing 3 integers in middle, this is storing 4 integers in middle. This will become 1008, 1012, 1016. Since you are storing number of integers between them, so 0 and 1, only one integer, so 1004. 0 and 2, you are storing 2 integers, that's why 1002. 0 and 3, 3 integers, multiply by 3, 1012. All of these memories will come, all of them are storing after 4 bytes interval, because one integer take 4 bytes. Is this part clear? Is this part clear? Okay. Now, if you observe something, can you see a pattern? Like only in this line, can you see a pattern? What is the pattern? The pattern is this. Just copy this. And if I just see a simple pattern, I am able to observe something. That is address of A of K is nothing. It is base address. 1000 was my base address, right? Plus K into whatever size of data type is. K into 4. Everybody agree with this? Yes or no? Base address plus whatever is that index into that whatever data type. So data type is 4 here, integer here, so that's why it is 4. If it would be a character, it will become 1. If it would be something else, it will become adjusted accordingly. This is what is called contiguous location or continuous location. If you give me the base address, if you give me the index of the array, if you give me the base address, if you give me the index, I can tell you the address of any particular index in the array. That is what is called contiguous location. Since all values are contiguous, that is why it is possible. If values were not contiguous, this formula will not be valid. Agree? Suppose it was distributed memory. Will this formula be valid? Never be valid. If it was distributed memory, one value stored somewhere, second value stored somewhere, third is stored somewhere. Will this formula be valid? It will never become valid. It is only valid because you give me a base address, you give me an index, I can tell you the location of that value. That is what you mean by contiguous location. Okay. If I draw a diagram out of it to explain that, this is the diagram. 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now just observe here what I'm gonna do. One integer take 4 bytes. So first value I have is 1. So 1 till 1003, that will be occupied by 1. Next from 1004 till 1007 occupied by 2. Next 4 values will be occupied by 3. This is what contiguous means. Observe something very carefully. There is no space between 1003 and 1004. Immediately the first value ends, immediately the second value starts. If it was like this, for example, instead of starting 2 from 1004, I was starting 2 from 1007. Will you call it as a contiguous memory? Will you call this as a constant contiguous memory? No. Why? Because there is a space. These are not contiguous, there is a space. But the moment I delete the space, now it becomes contiguous. Okay. This is what arrays actually stored in the memory. This is how arrays stored in the memory. This part clear to all? Just let me know in the chat. This part clear to all? Just let me know in the chat. Now all the theory of our array is completed. Theory of our array is completed. This is done. This is done. Let's start with coding part. Okay. Let's quickly warm up some question, guys. Then we'll start with the question that we have list for today. We have precisely, as I can see, 45 minutes. That is sufficient time for us to solve the question. Question number 1, guys. Print all values in array. Okay. Print all values is also called traversal. Any data structure, when you see traversal, ultimately it is iterating through all the values in an array. So the question is, array will be given as this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want the output like, just print the output basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the function you have to complete. Void print array. You will be given an array of integer. You will be given its size. All you have to do is write a code to print all the values. Those who are new, those who are joining for the first time today's class, just to tell you, here is a format we follow when we solve coding questions. So 30 seconds, I will just explain you the question. I'll explain you the input and output. I'll explain you the function that you have to implement. Once you guys will say clear, once you're clear with everything, then I will give you 30 seconds. In those 30 seconds, I expect code, time complexity, space complexity. Whenever you're writing code, please do mention time and space complexity. Okay. And while you're messaging, you have to message directly to me. When you're answering something, answer directly to me. Okay. When I'm asking a question. So that will save you from getting distracted from other answers and vice versa. It will for your own benefit only. Okay. So this is the format we are going to follow. Just let me know if everybody clear with this format. Just let me know if everybody clear with this format. Guys, first the format, everybody clear? I'm still seeing some of you have not changed the message. The format is theory part is theory part. When we go to the coding part, what I will do is coding part in the sense questions part. Once we're clear, I will explain you the question like I have done this. I explained you the sample input. I'll explain you the sample output. I will tell you which function you have to code. This is what I will do. Okay. After you say everything is clear, you have to do in 30, I will give you 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, you will have to do 3 things. You have to complete this code of function in any language you want. Be it whatever language you prefer, you have to code in any language. You have to mention time complexity and space complexity. That I will give only 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, I will not give any more time. I'll discuss the answer. Okay. So that will increase your speed. And later during the course of time, we'll decrease that 30 seconds to 25 and so on and so forth. And whenever you're messaging me, when you're giving the answer, then you have to directly message me. There's an option on Zoom where you can directly message instead of messaging it to everyone. So that you don't get distracted by their answer, other people don't get distracted by your answer. Got it? So is instructions clear to all? Let me know. Are instructions clear to all? The new people specifically. Those who are already there, they know, right? Okay. One thing I'm noticing, a lot of you are giving the time complexity right, but you're not giving the space complexity right. Guys, 30 seconds are over. Let's discuss. That is not a tough question. It's a very easy question. Okay. Simple thing you can do, you can give, you're already given the size of the array. So all you can do is for integer I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and you can just do cout or system.out or print whatever language you want, a of or array of I. Simple code. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Which code editor is being used for submitting solutions? We'll be using LeetCode specifically, so not exactly code editor. This is Sublime that I'm using at the moment. Okay, when we're solving questions on LeetCode, we'll be using submitting for LeetCode only. Okay, cool. So this is the code for it, guys. That's one way of doing it. That's first way of doing it. Second way, there is even a shortcut for that. What is the shortcut? Let's see that also. Second way is a shorthand, not a shortcut, it's a shorthand. That's the right term for it. Instead of writing like this, all you can do is you can simply create for integer data or element in array, and you can print array of, or you can directly print element. I'll cover. Yeah, time and space complexity will be discussed in detail. That is coming in the next classes. You'll be given the schedule for the set. Understand there are two ways to do it. Time and space complexity we will discuss everything in detail. Don't worry about it. Just to tell you, iterating over an array, there are simple two ways. First, you can iterate over the index. So you're given the length. So index will go from 0 till n minus 1. This loop will run how many times? This loop will run how many times? N times. From where to where? 0 to n minus 1. Indexing is also 0 to n minus 1. So I'm iterating through each index and I'm saying array of that index and I'm printing that value. This is iterating over index. Agree? In this code, I'm just iterating over index, right? Second shorthand method, I'm not iterating over index. I am iterating over values. This is just a shorthand. When you're saying integer element in array, you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're not talking about array of 0, array of 1, array of 2. No, we're directly talking about the array values. So this is the way, and this is the way, both are correct. Either you can iterate over index or you can iterate over values. Both will give you the same answer. This part clear to all? We can use arrays.toString. Nothing for conversion. Yeah, you can convert it and then print the string also, but that's the way I wanted to teach. So either you can iterate over string or you can iterate over values. Both are correct. Everybody clear with that? Everybody clear? Okay. Now coming to the complexity analysis. Time complexity, space complexity. If you see in time complexity is just about number of iterations I'm doing put under big O notation. This loop is running n times. This loop is also running n times. This will be big of n, whatever is number of elements there. Space complexity, a lot of you have given incorrect answer. Understand one thing clearly, guys. When you're asked about the space complexity of a function, the input that you are given, that space is not counted. I'm repeating. When you're asked to write a complexity of a particular function, input that you are given is not counted. This array is given, some set is given, some map is given, some matrix is given. That will not be counted. That is big of one. If you create something inside it, if I create an array here, now it will become counted. Now you will say it is big of n. So whatever you create inside the function, that is counted in space complexity. What is given in the memory or what is given as part of the arguments of the function, that is not counted in the memory. Okay. So this part I will remove. Space complexity is big of 1. It is not big of n. I see a lot of people saying big of n because they see an array here of size n. I'm not asking a complexity of the complete code. My question is about just this function. An interview focus just on the function which you are writing. Okay. So that is time complexity and space complexity, first part of the code. This part, everybody clear? Just let me know in the chat. Easy? Cool. Now let's start with our, can you explain once more? Okay. Quickly explaining, if you want to traverse over the array, just two things. There are two ways to do that. Either you can, okay, only time and space complexity. Time complexity, we'll have separate class on time and space complexity, so nothing to worry about. Just to explain at the moment. Time complexity is not number of iteration. Time complexity is the time it has taken in terms of execution during running the program. not compile time, during runtime. So this piece of code I'm focused on, this piece of code inside the function. This will run n times. That's why it is big of n. Simple time complexity. Coming to space complexity, just focus on this piece of code. Whatever function you are writing, focus on that complexity, not the complete overall complexity. Okay. When an interviewer asks you tell me the time and space complexity, they are asking about the function that you are writing. Of course, there will be this inside input, output. That is not what you are focused on. Just focus on this. So if you're creating any extra space here, then you will say, yes, I'm creating an extra space, that you will count it as big of n or n square, whatever you are creating. Here, I'm not creating an extra space. All I'm creating is an integer, one integer I. So I'm creating how much memory inside this function? I'm creating 4 bytes. 4 is a constant. That is why you call big of 1. Big of 1 does not mean zero memory. Big of 1 means constant memory. That is confusion a lot of people have. Let me clear that also. There is a separate class on time space complexity, nothing to worry. Just to tell you, if I'm creating a void function and I'm creating integer a comma b, and I'm doing some operation, something, whatever I'm doing. What is the space complexity of this, guys? And similarly, just copy this, paste it here. Now I'm creating an array of n. What is the space complexity of first and what is the space complexity of second? Quickly tell me if you can. First is big of 1, second is big of n. Why? Big of 1 does not mean zero memory. Clear it in your mind. Big of 1 does not mean zero memory. Big of 1 means constant space, constant memory you are taking. Constant is something which is not dependent upon anything else. I'm creating A and B. So it is 8 bytes. 8 is a constant. 8 is a constant. That's why I will say this is taking constant memory. This array is taking how much memory? This array is taking how much memory? No, guys, memory in the sense how much bytes it will take. Correct. This will take n into 4 bytes. Can I call this as constant? No. If n is 2, it will take 8. If n is 200, it will take 800. It is dependent upon n now. So whatever n will be there, that will be the memory. That's why you call it as b of n. Now it is dependent. This is not a constant anymore. It is dependent. Whether it's 1000 byte, but if it is constant, it will still call big of 1. There's no term called big of 1000. There's no term called big of 8. No, we don't describe it that way. If it is constant, whatever number, that will be big of 1. But if it is depending upon some external value, we define it big of n or n square or n cube, whatever way. This part clear to all? This part clear to all? If space is there, then space complexity would increase. Yes, it would increase. So when the function is invoked, the array will be constructed in the namespace of the function. Understand one thing. When the function is invoked, this array would have been created in the main function or whatever function you have implemented there. Their function, you are making a call there. So this array, that memory has been created in that function. Obviously, ultimately, it's the same program. But when you're asked about time space complexity, you're asked about that function only, not all other function. So if I talk here, this print array would have been called from main function. In main function, there would be an array. That memory is occupied there. Why you are calling space complexity here as big of n? Are you creating any space here? No, you are not creating on space here. That's why it is big of 1. Complete program and not focused. If you whatever function you are given, that function you have to talk about time and space complexity. Okay. Cool. Basic things, but good to know. Print all values. Which of the either for loops are inefficient in earlier question? Both of them run in the same time complexity. Only difference is this is running over index, this is running over values. Both of them have the same complexity, big of n. This is just a shorthand method of doing it. This is just a shorthand method of doing it. How is space complexity constant in the previous problem we asked to solve? We are not using additional spaces for variable, right? Additional spaces for variable. Guys, understand, that's what I'm saying. 1 variable, 2 variable, 3 variable, 4 variable, 10 variables, 20 variables. If there is countable number of variables, it is still a constant space. Let's say I take 100 variables, 100 into 4, 400 bytes. 400 bytes, constant number. But if I'm creating n number of variables, now I don't have a number. N can be something. N is given by the user. How can I say this is constant? N is divided by the user, right? So that I will call as big of N. That is why this is big of 1. Space complexity is constant here because we are not focusing on this space. Whatever is given in the argument is not counted in the space complexity of a function. Whatever you are implementing inside the function, that is where it is counted as space complexity. Okay, cool. Now, if I come to this part, all values traversal an array, we get to know about it. Now let's take more questions. I'll get this list of questions. Let's start solving that. Very first question, which is question number 2. And even before that, let's do question number 2 here. Sum of all elements in an array. And that is where I would like to teach you an interesting CP trick. Up for a CP trick, anybody? Anybody interested in CP, let me know. We can discuss few things. I will keep on discussing few things in the meantime. Anyhow, let's discuss that sum of all elements in an array. So I will take this array. I will just copy paste it. Yeah. This array is given. What I want is, I want you to write a function which will return me the sum of all elements in the array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be what? N plus 1 by 2. This will be 15. So this is the function I want you to complete. Sum of array, and you are given integer array and integer n. Everybody clear with the question? Write me a function. This is the function you have to write, whatever language you want to write, totally your choice. Just return me the sum of the array. Question is clear? Cool. I don't think, guys, you need 30 seconds. So let's make it 20 seconds this time. Values will be 1 to n. No. Values can be anything. That's why the array and n I have passed, right? Values can be anything. Again, both ways of iteration. What I'm doing here is, last question I was iterating over the values, correct? When I was iterating over the values, if I have to keep the sum, I can create a sum variable and I can keep on adding the values. That is the approach. The approach is what? You are iterating over all the values, right? So what you can do is, either you can just create a variable and in that variable, you can keep on adding the sum. It will give you the sum of the array. So you can keep like this, integer sum equal to 0. And all you can do is I less than n I plus plus. Just write sum plus equal to array of I and return sum. All agree with that? All agree with that? Simple, clear, easy code. Time complexity, same, big of n. Space complexity, again, big of 1. One CP trick which I want to discuss here is, just copy this, paste here. This part and this part. Can anybody tell me the difference between the two? Some people write it like this. Some people write it like this. Is there any difference between the two? Or are both of them same? Okay. If you actually were doing CP, you will know the difference. The answer is, it is not same. It is not same. Okay. Less memory, performance was 5. Not even performance was 5. This time was also 5. Okay. Understand what is happening here. What you are doing here is sum plus equal to array of 5. Understand the meaning of that part. Sum plus equal to array of 5 means you are initializing. Okay. First basic things. Whenever you write in programming A equal to B, you are assigning RHS to LHS. Simple part. When you say A equal to 10, you say I have given 10 to A. This part everybody knows. Let me just explain with annotation. In programming, whenever you write A equal to B, that means RHS is being assigned to LHS. It is never LHS being assigned to RHS. Just be crystal clear with that. You always say value of B I have given to A. This part everybody knows. This part everybody knows. Okay. Now what is happening here? Sum plus equal to array of I. You are saying whatever is the value of sum, I am adding the array of I to it. That is what this code is doing. Whatever is the value of sum, I'm just adding array of I to it. That is what this is doing. Second part is doing what? Sum will be replaced by sum plus array of I. So I will find sum of array of I, then I will give it to sum. That is what this second part is doing. And that is where all the problem comes. This part is, or let me write here, creating a copy of sum, then adding array of I, then giving to sum, or giving in the sense initializing to sum, then assigning to sum. Three steps are involved here. Observe carefully. First, you're creating a copy of sum, then you are adding array of I, then sum of a sum plus array of I, you are giving it to sum again. Three steps are involved here. Creating a copy of sum, then adding array of I, then you're assigning it to the sum. This part clear to all? This part clear to all? Okay. What is happening in the first part? You are adding array of I and then assigning to sum. You are not creating copy of sum here. You are not creating copy of sum here. This complexity is big of 1. This complexity is big of sum. These are not same, guys. Lot of time you won't even notice the difference, and most of the people they don't even know the difference. Okay, but if you're competing at a very good level, for example, I can take example of hacker cup, I can take example of top order. This will give you error. This will not pass our test cases. This will pass our test case. I can show you some problem statement which I was coding around 6-7 months ago, a lot of time back. So there, if you seen on LeetCode and CodeChef and Codeforces, pretty much you will not even notice the difference because both will pass test cases. But only at a very good platform where constraints are very high, even 1 microsecond can pass or fail, pass or not pass, or give you TLE or MLE. That where you will know the difference. Okay, just to be clear, these are not the same. Yeah, minority of difference is there, but this one is extremely faster and this one is not faster. That's why CP is useful when you are programming. Is this clear to all? That's one thing I want to tell. Big of sum is still constant, right? Yeah, big of sum is still constant, but it is not in place that you're doing. You're occupying extra memory for creating a copy. Big of sum is constant, but this is extra time you're creating. It is same like if I'm creating 4 bytes or I'm creating 40 bytes, both are same constant time. How does big of sum? You're creating a copy of it, right? Big of sum that you are doing, you're creating a copy of it first. So that much copy that you have created, that copy will be created in the memory, then it will be assigned to it. That is a higher execution than directly adding it to the same variable. Understand what? You created another variable, you assigned it to something that variable, then you're giving it to the new variable. That is a very slow operation. Directly assigning it to the same variable, it is a faster operation. That's how it works. I can go into the internal also. Or could you explain once against the first notation? The sum will be copied n times, right? Yes, it will be copied n times. Could you explain once against the first notation? I didn't get the question. Could you explain first again the first notation? First notation you're talking about big of 1. Oh, okay. Yeah, that will be big of n. That is a big of n. See, what is happening here is you are saying whatever my variable is sum, just add the value of array of I. There is no extra copy being created. There is no extra copying being created. Okay. So it is adding array of I and then it's just assigning to the sum. In case of this, sum is creating a replica of it. Sum is creating a replica of it. And that replica is created n number of times because this code is inside the loop. So if sum is definitely a constant, so big of 1, but big of 1 is being done n number of times. So 1 into n, big of n. This time big of n operations are being performed. This is big of 1 being performed. That is what I am telling. There is no memory being created here. There is memory being created. Sum is obviously a constant, so it is taking big of 1 space, but that big of 1 space is created n times. That is why big of n space. Got it? First one is faster, second one is slower. Cool guys, just let me know if everybody clear, then we can go to next question. Okay, these two part we have done. Let's go to next question. Next question is this. Find maximum element in an array. Okay, so let's take the example of same array. Maximum element in an array you have to find. This time let's modify the array. 10, -2, 30, 45, 56. What will be the output? Maximum value. Maximum value will be 56. All you have to do is write a function which will find me the maximum element in an array. So integer max element, integer array, you will be given number as well. That's the function you have to write. And on the first question, guys, just to remind you one thing, whenever you're taking sum, whenever you're taking product, always prefer to keep it as a long or long, and always make it a habit. Remember guys, a lot of time you'll be solving this question, everything is fine, but it will give you WA, which is wrong answer. That will be because of overflow. Okay, so whenever you're taking sum of values, whenever you're taking product of values, always keep it as long instead of integer, because sum can be very large and it can extend the range of the integer. So it's always better to keep it as long or long, whatever you say. Okay, depending upon constant, we'll come to constant analysis as well. Cool guys, coming to third question, find maximum element in an array. You are given an array, a list of values. Let's merge the third and fourth question together, guys. That will save us time, right? Let's merge the third and fourth question together. So what I want is maximum and minimum element both. So let's merge these questions together. Just modify the question a little bit, guys, because 3 and 4 are variations of each other. So let's merge the question together. Now the question is, you're given an array. You have to find me the maximum and minimum element in the array. It will be really good if you can find me in single pass. All you have to do is you have to find maximum as well as minimum element. It will be really good if you can find it in single pass. Now take your time, 30 seconds on the clock, tell me in the chat. The question is, you have to find the maximum element and minimum element in the array. It will be good if you can find it in single pass. What do I mean by single pass? Single pass means only one iteration of the array. It's big of n. Not two iteration, that will be big of 2 into n. I don't want to do two iteration, I just want to do one iteration, find the answer in one iteration. Let's see what are the different ways we have. One brute force way of solving this question is, you can sort the array, but I don't think anybody will go with that approach. If you sort the array, you will get array of 0. This will be the minimum element. Array of n-1, that will be the maximum element. Agree? If I just sort the array, first value will be minimum, last value will be maximum. Time complexity, it will become big of n log n. Sorting is n log n. Space complexity is big of 1. Agree? Agree? Cool. Second part, can I do it in 2 pass? Of course I can do it in 2 pass. How can I do it in 2 pass? I can create integer max. Let's just copy paste this. Copy paste this and put it here. Integer max and min element. Max and min element. What I can do is I can create 2 values here. One is max element, one is min element, and I can initialize both of them to array of 0. To array of 0. Okay. Now what I will do? I'll first run a loop I equal to 1. I will define integer I also. For I equal to 1, I less than n, I plus plus. My max element will become max of what? All the values that I am having. So any particular value, max e, comma, that particular value that I'm having. So any particular value that you're comparing with, you can find it max e of that. Okay. Or if you don't want to use the max function, all you can do is if array of I is greater than max, max element becomes array of I. This part, and just copy this, paste it here, is less than min element becomes array of I. Max element, min element. Max element, min element. Okay, yeah, I'm coming to that only. And then you can print which one is max, which one is min. See out max element, see out min element. This part is clear to all. Just let me know in the chat. So if I have to find max and min element, I will make it as void. I'm not returning an integer. What I can do is I can create in two parts. Two parts means I can iterate the array twice. Okay. One more thing I have noticed, guys. Some of you are initializing it to 0. Then again, you are writing the for loop from 0. Doesn't make any sense. If you are initializing it with 0, there is no need to start the loop from 0. You start the loop from 1 in that case. First part. If you are initializing into integer max or integer min, then you start from the 0. Getting it? If you are initializing it with 0, then there is no point starting with 0 because you are already initialized the value 0. If you're initializing something like this, integer max equal to very integer dot min and integer dot min, and you're defining integer min equal to integer dot max, then it makes sense. Then it makes sense that you start from 0. Then that is fine. But if you're already initializing with 0, then it doesn't make any sense to start with 0. So you can create two different loops. Inside two different loops, you can compare max e, min e. If all values are greater than it, then it will be the maximum. All values smaller than it, that will be minimum. The approach of this question is just which values say maximum, which values say minimum. Only when all values are greater than it, then you say this is the maximum part. If all values are going to be smaller than it, then you say this is greater. All values are larger, you can say it is smaller. Okay, that is in two parts. Time complexity, big of n plus big of n. Space complexity, big of n. Easy. Can I solve it even more? Can I optimize it even more? Yes, I can optimize it even more. What I can do? I can solve it in one pass also. How can I solve it in one pass? This loop, if you observe carefully, isn't this the same loop? Line number 883, line number 890, isn't that the exactly same loop? It's exactly same loop, right? So why to write two loops for it? Just delete this part, put it here. Same logic. If you have to reuse the same loop, right? Why are you writing loop twice? In the same loop, you can put the logic, you can find the answer. Time complexity will become only single loop. It will space complexity big of 1. This part is clear to all. Just let me know. Okay. There is one more method which can work in big of single pass. Let me show that also. There is one more method. So please discuss with the interviewer before starting that. Okay. That's kind of a shortcut. So we're using STL here. So please discuss with the interviewer. This will not require any maxi mini. All you have to do is just give max element equal to star of max element. This is in C++. Same as there for Python and Java as well. Just give array comma array plus n. That will give you the maximum element, and minimum element will give you this. Just copy paste and paste it here. This is minimum element. Okay. And you don't even need it here. You can just give it here, integer. That's all. Big of n plus big of n, max element, min element, both works in big of n. So that can also do in two parts, which is using STL. These are 4 ways to do that. So, but before again, I'm reminding, before using that, please discuss it with your interviewer, whether you can use it or not. Quickly winding up what we have done. The question was finding maximum and minimum element in an array. Okay. Now, our approach is to minimize the time and minimize the space as a developer. There are many ways to do it. First, we start with brute force, where you can sort the array. When you sort the array, first value will become minimum, last value will become maximum. But the biggest disadvantage is sorting arrays n log n time. Why do I need to sort the array to find max and min? First part. Second is, can we use in two pass? Of course, we can do it in two pass. We can define max e and min e, whatever I need. And first loop, I can find the maximum value. Second loop, I can find the minimum value. The logic is here, if any value found greater than your maximum, you replace with that maximum. So at the end of this loop, max e will contain the maximum value. Reverse in the case of min. Any value is less than min, I will replace with the min with that. At the end of the loop, I will find the minimum value. Let me reformat the code. Yeah, and you're printing that. Can we further optimize this? Of course, we can further optimize it. How? Same logic I was writing in two different loops. What if I can write in one loop? That will save my complexity to single pass, which will give you one pass, which is big of n. Space complexity will remain same. And finally, using shortcuts or basically STL methods, I can find in very simple 2 lines of code as well. I don't even need to write a for loop. But internally, it is performing big of n. So don't be tricked by the shortcuts. Internally, it's working big of n. When you're saying maximum element, it is taking array of plus n. Could you explain the n log n pass? Didn't understand. I'll come to that first. Are these 4 approaches clear? Are these 4 approaches clear? Okay. Just to answer, STL is standard template library. So all these C++ functions you see, there's a file called #include bits std C++. So what is bits std? Bits std is just a standard template of all libraries which you are using. Those who code in C++, they will know. Earlier, it used to be like this. You have to include IOStream. Then you have to include whatever vector and all, #include vector and all these things you needed. You have to include all of these files. So instead of that, C++ developers, what they have done, they have created bits std C++.h. They've created a standard library which is defined under std C++.h. You can even go there and you can see the code also. It's open source, so you can see their code also. Inside this library, they are calling all these functions that are there. For map, for vector, for input, output, all of these functions, they make a list, they put inside this. So you just need to import only one library, or you need to import only one header file, and you can use all the function. That is what STL is. Okay. Coming to this part, n log n approach, somebody else coming to this. The brute force way is, think it this way. If I take this array, suppose this is my array. If I'm sorting it, my array is this. After sorting, my array will become what? After sorting, your array will become -2, 10, 30, 45, 56. That's what it will become after sorting, right? So first value will be the minimum value, last value will be the largest value. That is what sorting means. Sorting takes n log n time. That's why it is n log n complexity. That was the brute force approach. Everybody clear with that? Just quickly let me know in the chat. All sort algorithms have n log n? Answer is no. All sorting works in n log n? Answer is no. This is the quick sort algo I'm talking about, which is n log n, which when you write sort a comma a plus n, which is a quick sort. When you write arrays dot sort, that is also a quick sort. Technically, it's a tim sort, but majority of it is quick sort. When we go to sorting, we'll discuss about different sorting in detail, but just to tell you, n log n is the right answer for all sorting? No. There can be best cases, there can be worst cases, depends on the data. Cool, guys. Let's quickly wind up the class, what we have done. 1 second, find 2 max elements. This is done. Okay, this is not done. We will do that. Can we use 2 pointer? Brute force is efficient, right? No, brute force is inefficient. N log n is much higher than big of n. N log n is much higher than big of n. You have to keep the complexity lower, not the higher. Can we use 2 pointers, one at start and other and at the end of array? Traversal both point the same index. Compare both indexes, max and min. Will it optimize? It will not optimize. It will ultimately remain big of n, right? when you're saying you are suggesting a two-pointer based approach, two-pointer is also big of n, this is also big of n, so it is not optimizing. In either case, you are traveling all the values in the array. Traveling all the values is big of n. Either you do from front end n, you do from one pass, same thing. Either run this loop from 1 till n, either loop from n till 1, or I keep it 2 points and then run it in n. Ultimately, I'm doing n operations, right? And that n operations is n operations, big of n. Cool, guys. Let's quickly wind up the class and set the agenda for tomorrow. Then we can catch up. The very first thing we have discussed about how to set up LeetCode and how to use it efficiently, and the strategy part as well. Then we move to DSA basics, understand difference between data structures and algorithms. We talk about a practical example also. Finally, we start with our first DS, which is arrays. We talk about its use case. We understood the definition. We understood the syntax. Then we have understood few test cases here, got the difference between declaration and definition, and finally move to indexing, then writing contiguous locations. Okay. Then we start with our questions. First, we will think about traversing all the values. Second, we get to know about sum of all elements. There are two more important things. Whenever you're taking sum, or let me write it as a note. Whenever taking sum, or product, always think about overflow. Okay. So either there are two ways actually where you can reduce overflow, but I will not cover here. First way is you can convert it to log, you can occupy the memory. Second way is modulus. We'll come to modulo operators, then we'll discuss about second way to overcome overflow. And this is a CP trick which we understood, that this which most of you people think is the same time, it is not same time. First one is efficient, second one is not efficient. So always prefer the first one whenever you're coding. Lot of your contest on CodeChef, LeetCode, Codeforces, they won't even give you error for. Majority of them will not, as far as my knowledge. But if you try to do that on Facebook Hacker Cup or Google Code Jam, then it will give you errors. Okay. Some of the question it will give you error. Top quarter 100% it will give you error, because top quarter constraints are very, very tight. So even if you go with 1 microsecond, this will give you some TLE or ML. Anyhow, these questions we have done. Then we combine this two questions into one question, find minimum maximum element in single pass. We discuss the 4 approaches along with time and space complexity. Coming to the agenda of next class, we are going to have these 3 questions, and plus we will have LeetCode questions that will be coding on LeetCode. Okay, and we'll be moving on matrices part. LeetCode questions and matrices.